Hey guys, it's V from Under the Desk News, and I have a very special treat for you this week. We are going to be launching a new club, the Under the Desk News AV Club. We're going to be talking about movies and film and some of the more like pop culture and fun things that we can learn from cinema. We're also going to be taking a hard look at how cinema has shaped the history and politics of this nation and looking to the movies for how we can best manage the coming years. So with that, introducing one of my best friends, Dr. Shannon Mancus, with the first episode of the Under the Desk News AV Club.
Hi, welcome to AV Club. I'm Dr. Shan, a film professor. Things are kind of rough out there right now. Step into my office. Let's talk about movies. Today, I'm going to give you a list of perfect holiday films for any occasion. Holidays can be beautiful, but they can also be trying. My recommendations for films will not be based on, is this film good, whatever that means, but is this film good for you? Is this film good for us? Can this film help us keep our tank full and sustain us through what might be a particularly stressful holiday season? In making this list and in thinking about the meaning of these films, I've been using two questions that I kind of think of as like my movie decoder ring. The two questions are kind of a gamified way of analyzing movies that I've honed over my 15 years teaching film studies. And I'm hoping that in the coming weeks, you'll play along with me. The first question is, what are the morals of the film? Which is to say, what qualities are considered good and bad within the world of the film? The second question is, what are the problems and solutions presented in the film? What are the problems that keep the good characters from achieving their goals? What are the solutions to those problems? And then finally, how do those problems and solutions correspond to fears and hopes in the real world? Once you've answered those questions, you can answer the big question, which is, what is the take-home message of the film? What are we supposed to think, feel, or do after we watch the movie? So now that we have our toolkit packed, let's talk about some movies that feel like a warm blanket and a cup of hot cocoa. First up, best film for all ages, The Muppet Christmas Carol. This movie is the best. Kermit ice skating is cinema. The songs are bangers. Michael Caine's determination to play Scrooge as if he were on stage at the National Theater and not surrounded by Muppets is a gift to humanity.
Humbug.
This film tells us that it's good to focus on family and community, and it's bad to focus only on money. The problem is that Scrooge has enough power to make everyone around him absolutely miserable, and the solution is ghosts. I mean, it kind of is, but actually it's really to think about the impact that you have on other people. So the message of this film is that rich people need to be terrified into showing basic human decency. Just kidding. Kind of. The thing I'm taking away from this movie this year is that we always have time to change our lives for the better and to embrace joy, and that the power of community is more important in the long run than the power of money. Next up, best movie for if you like Die Hard, but you're sick of Die Hard, Carry On. This movie just dropped on Netflix, and it's a lot of fun. Like Die Hard, it's an action film set during the holiday season. A TSA agent who's coasting in his career. When he and his newly pregnant girlfriend report to their jobs at LAX on Christmas Eve, his life is turned upside down by threats from a shadowy figure played by Jason Bateman. It's a thriller, but it's campy enough that the absurd situations that Ethan needs to wriggle out of are more fun than stressful. What's good in this film is not allowing yourself to be cowed by those who wish to do harm. What's bad is putting profit over human life. The film is driven by the fact that the shadowy syndicate is threatening to kill Ethan's wife if he doesn't do exactly as they say. Ethan solves this problem through self-reliance on a strong moral code. What I'm carrying with me from this film right now is the idea that it's important to use whatever limited agency you have to protect other people and do what's right. But of course, the message here is a bonus, right? Come for the ludicrous but fun car chase sequence and stay for the timely message. Best film to remind yourself to stop and enjoy some eggnog is Elf. Buddy is a human who climbed into Santa's sack during Santa's visit to an orphanage. He's raised by elves and believes himself to be one until he discovers the truth. He's a human, his father is alive, and he's on the naughty list. No! Buddy is good because he spreads love and joy, and he's goofy and fully himself. Buddy's dad is naughty because he is cynical and puts money and work over everything else. Buddy's main task in this film is to connect with his dad and get him off the naughty list. He does so by teaching everyone how to embrace the spirit of Christmas. This film asks us to believe that allowing oneself to feel childlike wonder and prioritizing joy in your life can save the day. If you're like me, this is a really helpful reminder in the middle of holiday madness. Best movie for something short and sweet. If someone has suggested that you all watch a movie, but you don't have the time or inclination to spend 2 hours doing so, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas may provide a perfect solution. It's a Jim Henson original from the 70s that clocks in at under an hour and features charming characters singing original songs. Emmett Otter and Ma Otter are forces for good in this film. Though they are struggling to work their way out of poverty, they show a lot of love for each other and for those around them. The villains in this film are one of the greatest fake rock bands of all time. They're called the River Bottom Nightmare Band, which is great. I mean, look at these dudes. There's a fish. That's amazing. They're mean to everyone and they're self-important. The film seems to want to tell us that even if it seems like bad actors get awarded in the short term, the rewards for good and creative people are more lasting and more meaningful. One caveat, the first song is meant to be a series of jokes about how big their grandmother's bathing suit was, and you should skip it if you don't want to deal with that kind of humor. The sets and puppetry throughout the whole film, though, are astounding, and it's just a slightly melancholy but sweet little movie. Best film for if you need a good cry. It's a Wonderful Life.
A man who has a friend is a rich man. That's what Clarence said.
I get that this is an uncontroversial pick, but I'm looking forward to a cathartic rewatch of this over the next couple of weeks. Good qualities in the world of this film include putting community over self and gratitude. Bad qualities involve putting profit over people, and I'm suddenly feeling like maybe there's a theme running through all these films. In terms of problems and solutions, the movie is actually almost more like two movies. In the first half of the film, the problem is that evil Mr. Potter is trying to force the Bailey's Building and Loan out of business. The solution is that George keeps putting the business and family before himself over and over and over again. Maybe unsurprisingly, in the second half, the crisis is that George has been putting family and business ahead of himself for so long that he has nothing left to give when a crisis hits. The solution comes in the form of an angel who is able to show him how meaningful his life has been, which inspires a deep gratitude that reignites George's will to live. The movie wants us to practice gratitude. It wants us to see riches not as money, but as the things that really make our lives worth living: love and respect. Also, the movie doesn't say this, but I think we can also take from it that self-care is essential. You have to have enough gas in your tank that you can weather a crisis. It's better to take a vacation every once in a while than crash your car into a tree and sink into a deep despair. Yes, if you're like me, you'll probably cry at the end, but I usually feel better after I do. Follow up the film with a classic SNL sketch of the citizens of Bedford Falls meeting out mob justice to Mr. Potter for an extra dose of catharsis. Finally, best film for if family time becomes too much. Sneak away for an hour and treat yourself to the holiday episode of Murderville, Who Killed Santa?
Santa Claus is dead.
If you're unfamiliar with the premise of Murderville, celebrities are thrown into a murder mystery with no script and have to improv their way through scenarios while attempting to solve a murder mystery. This holiday version is especially fun because it throws together besties Will Arnett, Sean Hayes, and Jason Bateman. This is Arnett's show, and he plays Terry Seattle, a beleaguered detective who is constantly getting saddled with new partners. I'm not going to analyze the plot of this one because the plot isn't really the point. What the point is watching some truly great actors try to cope with the absurd scenarios that they're thrown into during the unfolding murder mystery. It is a blast to watch the actors having so much fun with each other, and it's hilarious. So obviously, no list of holiday movies is going to be fully comprehensive, but I want to know, what do you think I missed that should have been included?